Hi everyone, I'm Ayla, the science educator for Ocean First Institute. Welcome to my Coral Reef Cafe. In today's video, we're going to be learning about the extraordinary biodiversity of coral reef systems. You can check out one of our earlier videos on building coral polyps to see how these reef systems develop, but in today's video, we're going to be focusing on what happens once they've already grown. Coral reefs are incredibly important to marine ecosystems. They prevent coastal erosion, are critical to helping scientists find new medicine in the 21st century, and are home to an amazing number of species. Scientists estimate there are as many as 4,000 species of fish, 800 species of hard corals, and maybe as many as 8 million undiscovered species living in and around coral reefs. Because of this biodiversity, animals that live on coral reefs have to adapt to their environment, so they're not constantly competing with the other species in their environment. One of the ways they do this is by carving out specific niches for food and adapting particular feeding strategies like tearing or picking things up that help them feed. In today's video, we're going to be building our own coral reef cafe and experimenting with how different types of fish mouths, or in our case, household items, are able to pick up different coral reef critters. You'll want to start by building your own coral reef, and you can be very creative with this. I used a piece of fabric, some ribbons, scarves, and even old cupcake holders. The important thing to think about when designing an activity like this is you don't want to be wasteful, so make sure that you can reuse everything that you put in your coral reef. Once you've designed the coral reef, you can do a scavenger hunt around your house to find things that might serve as our fish mouths. For example, you might use cutters or pliers to represent a parrotfish that's going to tear algae from coral. You could use tweezers to represent an angelfish that's going to dig up worms and other bottom-dwelling invertebrates, and even a clothespin to represent a pufferfish that'll eat things like crabs or mollusks on the ocean floor. After you've collected your fish mouths, you'll want to populate your coral reef with coral reef critters. Now remember, there's an amazing amount of biodiversity on coral reefs, so you can be super creative and use lots of different household objects on your reef as long as you're being reduced waste. So for me, I'm going to use things like bath toys and corks as big fish that a larger coral reef critter might pick up. We can use things like paper clips as bottom-dwelling critters. Things like crayons can represent worms that would live in and amongst the coral reef. I even have some old pencil erasers that can be another type of worm, some Q-tips that again I will save. And once you've populated your coral reef, make sure things are evenly spread around, on top of things, by things, so you can have fun with this game. Now this game is most fun when you can play with other people in your household, but feel free to do it yourself. The object is to see how many coral reef critters you can pick up with your chosen fish mouth in only 30 seconds. So I'm going to be a parrotfish on this first round, and my object is going to be to collect different critters from around my coral reef cafe and then count up how many I got in 30 seconds. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Stop. Alright, so I didn't get that many because I was having a little trouble using these, especially to collect bigger items like those corks, which are representing fish. But that kind of makes sense. These tools are representing a parrotfish, which is only going to tear small pieces of algae off coral heads. So I was able to get a few paper clips, a couple of crayons, one Q-tip, one eraser, and even one little rubber ducky, which might represent something a little bigger. You can keep doing this as many times as you want with different mouths. For example, on this next round, I might be a pufferfish. Again, you can play this game as many times as you want with as many different types of fish mouths as you want. For example, my coral reef competitor used this hairpin. What type of fish might this represent? As you collect other household items to use in the Coral Reef Cafe, I encourage you to think about what type of sea animal it might represent, and as a result, what type of sea animal or plant they might want to eat. We hope you enjoy this Coral Reef Cafe activity and continue checking back for more videos on how to explore the ocean at home.